Welcome back to Straight Facts on Tuesday. I'm joined by LB and Aaron that talks Arsenal. Loads to go through today. The big news regarding Isak to Liverpool. It does feel like it's happening. Many people agree. Some disagree. But Newcastle have a big decision to make. Isak, Ekitike. Will they have one of them, two of them, both of them, none of them? We will see. We're talking Eze to Arsenal and what's going to happen with the Rodrygo deal. Arsenal want him. Liverpool want him. Man City's name thrown into the mix as well. Plus, any subjects you want us to cover, feel free to put in your member chats, your super chats, or comments and questions below. But before we go any further, gentlemen, how are you both?
Good, mate. All good, pal. Yeah. Good to be here.
Yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, appreciate for having me on again, mate. Looking forward to it.
It's true. Straight away, this is, yes, I wanted to ignore this today. Man United preparing to pay Sancho to leave. Tery's worst nightmare is happening. And look, I know I'm seen as a INEOS simp. So this criticism will not get picked up, especially by you, Staffy. Especially by you, Staffy. I know you're going to ignore it, but this is one of the worst things we can do, in my opinion. If we start paying off the flops, the insubordinate players, the problem players, whatever phrase you want to use is not important. We start paying them off, it sets us back further. We are rolling over and having our bellies tickled again by other grown men. I'd rather him sit in the reserves. Let him eat lunch with us. Don't make him eat his lunch in the car, but I'd rather him in the reserves. I'd rather lose the money and set a precedent than go on, mate. You sail off into the sunset and we'll lose some money on you. Can't be doing it. Player power will not leave this club until we fucking address that. Massive mistake from INEOS. Terrible mistake from INEOS. Just to let everyone know, I'm criticizing INEOS. Anyone who's not understanding this, I'm criticizing INEOS again. Terrible mistake if true. Because it then means we're probably going to do it for Anthony. We're probably going to do it for Rashford. Then we lose tens of millions of pounds. And do you know what happens? We can't buy new players anyway. And not only that, we've let the players win again. We've been letting the players win for 13 years and not challenging for titles. But it's all right, Man United fans. We get rid of a bad player. Honestly, the day that Man United fans wake up and realize what's actually held this fucking club back for years, you're all wrong. And do you know where I know you've all been wrong? Because you're going to change your minds in a few weeks' time as well. We're going to have a bad summer, and you're going to go, see, INEOS had a bad summer, Tery. We told you they're crap. I went, yeah. I was always open-minded to them being crap. But do you know what you're all going to do in a couple of weeks when we're losing games? Manager's got to go. What do you mean the manager's got to go when you're blaming the ownership? You're going to forget about the ownership and go straight back onto the manager again and try and stick it up his shaft pipe. Because you're all wrong. You've all been wrong about the root causes of this problem for years. Only really Stephen Howson in the whole Man United online fan base has been consistently right. But again, let's just bow down to the players, pay them off. Let's just do it and see if this time, for the first time in 13 years, it works. Fuck me, Pink. We're so stupid. It's so fucking annoying. We focus on the wrong things. We use clubs that are well run as a barometer to see how well we're doing. And we ignore the real problems like this. This is what we should be criticizing the ownership for, not trying to get good deals. Fucking hell. Anyway, boys, you all right? So annoying. So fucking annoying. And yes, I'm rattled. I'm rattled because we focus on the wrong fucking problems all the time. All summer, it's owners. Then when we lose games and I go, oh, the owners have really set us up badly, the same amoebas, the same fools will say, the owners don't pick the team. The owners don't coach the team. You got to hold the manager. You got to hold the manager accountable. Standards. Oh, standards. Fuck you, you morons. You're all fucking shit. Anyway, I'm just so annoyed.
Keep going.
So annoyed.
I was enjoying that. Keep going.
So annoyed.
Yeah, you've just been demonetized.
Get the super chats up, people. I've just been demonetized.
Always been demonetized.
It's triggering me. Genuinely, it's triggering me. And I just mean it in that way. Listen, man, look, we all see things differently. But I see Man United fans moan that we're scrimping over a few million, right? Which is the right thing to do in the longer term. And then celebrate giving money away. The fuck is wrong with us? Anyway, we're not talking about Man United anymore today. I'm laying my foot down. I can't do it. It's too well, we can talk about it. Of course we can. I never do that. What did somebody just say? There's been a bomber about Isak. There's been nothing new as far as I can see. But that was actually meant to be our first talking point today, and we're going to jump into it now. Isak to Liverpool LB. It's reported as on. They've made an approach. They've basically told Newcastle, if you don't let us have him, we're going after your number one target in Ekatike. Talk to me, bruv.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a long day, man. I can't lie. If they get Isak, then madness. But Liverpool are acting like a big club. They won the league, and they're going out there signing Verts. They're trying to sign Isak. And listen, they might not get Isak, but they're trying. They're showing the intent. And if they get him, that's gonna be scary, mate. I can't lie, especially if they go and get a left winger as well. And yeah, obviously Newcastle can reject the bid or whatever, but then Liverpool are now saying, yeah, we'll go and get Ekatike if you don't. But Newcastle's point of view, they'll probably accept that. They'd rather hold on to Isak than they get Ekatike and then lose Isak. So yeah, this would be mad, bro. I can't lie. If they get, I think obviously Liverpool are favourites. I always have like the whoever won the league favourites anyway going into the next season. And I look at the signings that they're making, Verts, Gyokeres, Frimpong. If they go and get Isak, then yeah, they'll 100% be favourites. Even I have them favourites anyway. So this is mad, man. Liverpool moving crazy. And it's not like I don't believe my team can win it, because obviously we've made some decent signings as well. But you have to be humble, and you have to hold your hands up and have some respect as well for opposition teams. And if Liverpool just won the league last year, and then they've gone out and signed 2 full-backs, a creative midfielder, and a striker, all mint, you have to have respect for these teams. It's not that I don't think City can win it. I think we can win it, but it's more like you have to respect Liverpool, man. And yeah, like it's in a weird way, it's kind of good to see a club actually act like a big club for once, because I've seen Arsenal play, Arsenal try and pretend like they're a big club over the last couple of years. Aaron can talk about that more than me, and it gets kind of like a bit boring. And it's I say bring it on, man. Bring the challenge on. I'm kind of excited to have the head-to-head and bring City Pool back next season. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it is going to happen. I'm reading David Ornstein's article. He's saying that obviously Newcastle are sort of desperate to hold on to him and desperate not to sell him, which obviously they would say that. But it all depends on Isak, because if Isak knocks on the door of Newcastle and said, "Listen, I actually want to go," and I think they might be open to letting him go.
Just on an update as well, according to Plattenberg in Germany, Liverpool are preparing their first official bid for Alexander Isak as well.
What's that going to be? Do we know what the fee's going to be?
Well, I mean, what Ben Jacobs, I've got to give a bit of credit to Ben Jacobs here again. When he mentioned about 5 weeks ago that Liverpool will make an approach and it will be a British transfer fee, they're talking somewhere in the region of 120 million as a start point. That was where they'll go to. Obviously, Newcastle was still saying 200 million. I don't think anybody thinks it will get to that level, but around about 120 million bid.
I think it would have to have add-ons on top of that, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Sorry. Another update. Sorry. Martin Hardy, who works for the Times, obviously a credible outlet, has said that Newcastle are bracing themselves for an official offer from Liverpool that could be in the region of 130 million.
Yeah, I think that gets done. I think that if that's true, obviously we don't know if it's true, but if that is true and it's 130 million, especially if they throw in some add-ons on there, I think that gets done, to be honest with you. And listen, obviously Newcastle fans will be gutted, obviously, but you can go and get a good player, man. You know what I mean? You can go and get a good player for that. A real good player. There's a couple of strikers on the market. Yeah, it's mad, bro. I'm looking at Liverpool. I can't believe the way they're moving. They're moving like if you compare it to last summer as well, when they signed no one apart from Chiesa, and now they're getting all these players, man. It's crazy, man. Crazy. Yeah, respect Liverpool, man.
Yeah, I agree. And I just want to say what you said as well. I've had a bit of banter in the group chat today about objectively backing someone, and you just gave another example of objectively backing City. You don't believe they're the favourites to win the league, but you believe they can do it. You're going to support them in winning it, but you don't think it will happen. And it's objective, and that's fair. Like City and Arsenal can win the league next year, but this Isak deal, for me, Liverpool have to hold one thing which they don't like holding, and that's the the baton of being the outright favourites. And they don't often like that, Liverpool. They like to be the underdogs, but they're the outright favourites with this deal. Aaron, from your perspective, obviously Arsenal have been making some moves, and we'll get into it later. Gyokeres and Isak look like they're going to happen. Sorry, Eze look like they're going to happen. But is this a little bit of a sobering deal to look at from an Arsenal perspective?
What's that? The Isak deal?
deal,
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was saying backstage, it almost sort of feels like they're pulling away if they get that signing, because over the last few years, sometimes they haven't really relied on a 9 or an out-and-out striker to get their goals, i.e. Firmino, Salah, Mane on the wings. Diaz haven't really cut the mustard. If they get him, you know, and I'm looking at Havertz and I'm looking at Isak, and I'm like, if they sort of do a Fernando Torres, Steven Gerrard-esque sort of telepathy, they get that going on next season, they'll be really, really, really dangerous. Yeah, I'm not really happy with it, to be fair with you. You know, it's you get Gyokeres pretty much through the door, and then, you know, they get Isak. It's levels, isn't it? Liverpool, definitely, they were slightly my favourites just before the season or the transfer window began, and now they've got possibly getting Isak in there. Yeah, man, they're definitely outright favourites for me. God forbid they get Rodrygo, because that'd just be double worry. And honestly, Control Alt Delete the season. Honestly, yeah, I'll sell my season ticket, save myself 1,500 quid.
Is that not the context, though, that everybody talks about when it comes to it? Everybody's expectations. So I've heard a few people say recently, I got a super chat yesterday at LB that said, who's going to be more upset if they don't win the league next year? Arsenal, City, or Liverpool? And it was a hard one to answer. And I sort of felt, I think Arsenal would be to a degree, would be the most upset, followed by City. And I think the least upset would probably be, then Liverpool, followed by City. And I put you guys as least upset, even though you would be, just because you've won so much already, as an example. I said, but there wouldn't be no questions. There wouldn't be no demands. There wouldn't be no frustration. I would never make that claim. But if Liverpool just pull off one of the greatest summer transfer windows ever and just have slightly too much, surely that changes your perspective. Like, it's not a case of, I've got to sack Pep now if he doesn't win. When you look at does that make sense? Like, it changes your sort of reaction to maybe not winning it.
Well, Liverpool, if they sign Frimpong, yeah, Gyokeres, Havertz, and if they get Isak, right, they have to go in. They have to go win the league. And if they don't, I think they'll be mad disappointed. I mean, that you can't sign the greatest, arguably the greatest creative player in world football, who's not like past it, for example, and then one of the best strikers in the world, and then not go and win the league. So there'll be a lot of pressure on Liverpool to go and win the league, 100%. But then at the same time, there's pressure on Arsenal because they've not won a Premier League in over 20 years, not won a trophy in 6 years. And there's pressure on City because obviously we had the season that we did last year and we've done the rebuild now and we're looking to fire back, man. Listen, there's pressure on all the teams. There's pressure on all the teams. I say all the teams. I'm talking about the 3 main ones that are going to be in this sort of title race here. And, you know, pressures for different reasons. You know, if Arsenal don't win the league, Arteta's got to go. You know what I mean? If City don't win the league, there'll be especially external pressures on Pep Guardiola, and, you know, especially from the media. I think most of the City fan base will probably still be backing him. And if Liverpool don't win the league, they won't be the slot out, but there'll be question marks about, hang on a minute, you just spent all this money on Havertz, Isak, Gyokeres, and Frimpong, and you couldn't retain a Premier League. And of course, Liverpool had never retained a Premier League. So there's pressure on everyone, man. But that's part of the game. It is what it is. You know what I mean? You don't like the pressure, fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Get out of here, because this is the game that we play, and this is the game that we love, man. But listen, going back to Liverpool, fantastic. You know that they're showing this ambition. You know what I mean? And even if they don't get Isak, I've seen a couple of people in the chat saying, apparently Sky reporting that Newcastle are saying he's not for sale or whatever. But I think we already knew that anyway.
I'm gonna have another rant though. This is, yes, he's not for sale, but they keep saying he's not for sale and then giving a valuation. Yeah. My house, LB, you're not buying my house unless you give me 700k. What does that mean? It's the Luke Edwards. I saw every Newcastle fan quote what Luke Edwards said. I need to read this out to you boys, right? This is what the Newcastle fans today, all the aggregators did. I'll read it out to you. So this is the post they put out. Newcastle remains steadfast in their message that Alexander Isak is not for sale this summer in light of an inquiry from Liverpool. The view is a deliberate ploy to unsettle the striker. That's what they shared. That sounds pretty strong. They're not going to sell, right? This is what Luke Edwards said after that. The next sentence. As things stand, okay, he's not agitating to leave. And then he says, but we shall see. It changes the paragraph changes meaning when you read the whole thing and when you're honest about what words mean. We know when a journalist says, as things stand, there's a chance it's going to change, and often a good chance it's going to change. They shouldn't have to write that. It's only because football fans are there's so many amoebas, so many dumb people, so many toaster people, as I call them, that go, but you said he wasn't for sale. You lied. No, he didn't. He told you Newcastle said he weren't for sale. Not the fucking journalist, you moron. I'm in a mood today. I can't handle it anymore. I'm losing my mind with dumb people. Honestly, it's breaking my brain. But yeah, I don't care if they keep saying he ain't. Until I hear Isak say, I ain't leaving, until I hear Liverpool have pulled away, this deal's been on the whole time, man. It's an excellent piece of business as well.
Things change so quick in football, though, mate. Like, as soon as you put 120 million down, Newcastle all of a sudden react to that deal a lot quicker because that's hard cash on the table, you know? As well as that, if he puts in a transfer request, we all know what happens. He'll leave regardless. So, you know, 1 week they could be firm on it and say no. The next week, 120 million big goes in and he puts in a transfer request. 2 weeks later, he's wearing red. You know what I mean? So things change so quickly in football, and everyone's got a price. I never believe in that nonsense. Everyone's got a price.
They are winding me up. Terry, he's already said he's happy. Yeah, I know he did, but he didn't say he wouldn't leave. I'm happy. Did he? I know what he said without reading it, because it's what all players say. I love the city. I love this club. Oh, the fans are amazing. 2 weeks later, they're holding a new shirt. We've all seen this happen at our club. I bet you can find quotes from Van Persie saying how much he loves Arsenal at one point. It's all been done. It's all been said that he was banging in goals and winning the league at our club. Do you remember Fabian Delph with Villa? I ain't leaving. I love this club. 2 weeks later, all right, everyone, I'm a City player now. But I can't believe fans still fall. Still.
Do you boys think that this deal is going to happen this summer?
What do you think, Aaron? What do you think?
Like I said, it all depends on if they want how ambitious they are, Liverpool. If they genuinely have the money, and I think it's probably going to be down to do with sales. Surely they'll probably want Núñez out the door, confirmed, at least one of Núñez or Luiz. You know, I think it's more than feasible. Like I said, I think they're going to have to make some sales. Their winger Diaz, sorry, not Luiz. Apologies for that. You know, if they get both of them in there, I don't see why not. They'll at least get 100+ million for them two. I reckon it will come down. Even if they just sell one of them, I reckon they'll put a bid in. But that's what it's all going to come down to ultimately, isn't it? How much do they want him? They know he's going to be quite expensive. He's not coming anywhere near under 100 million. So if you've got the money and you've got the ambition, we'll see. It's all down to Liverpool, because Newcastle will sell. It's all rubbish, absolute tosh when they're saying he's not for sale. As soon as you put that money in there, total different ball game. And it'll be interesting. I don't want him to come this summer. I don't want him to come at all. I'm happy for him to stay at Newcastle, because Liverpool, I think they just go up a massive level if they get Isak in there. I can just see, like I said earlier, I can see Havertz and Isak just absolutely running riot. And I think that's not a good thing for me in LB, being a Manchester City fan and obviously Arsenal fan. I reckon Liverpool really pull ahead with that, man. We don't want to see that shit.
Yeah, I think as well, the fact that Newcastle are trying to sign Ekitike probably indicates to me that something is going on behind the scenes. Now, I know David Ornstein come out and was like, oh yeah, because they want to play them together or whatever, but I don't know. I just think it's a little bit of a coincidence that they're trying to sign Ekitike and then, like, at the same sort of time, all this news is coming out about Isak to Liverpool.
But that's it. But he didn't say that either. The tweet said play alongside each other, which I read. And then I read the article. The article said what Newcastle were insisting is they want to have both players as part of their attacking options. What he didn't say in the article is they're looking to play them both at the same time. So again, what Newcastle fans did is they aggregated it and then started twisting it and said, oh, no, they want to play together. It's not what, again, the article doesn't allude to that anywhere in the entire piece. And I think it's when you start reading it, and it's the biggest thing for me is Liverpool. They're not like the rest of us. They don't let rumors that don't have a chance of coming true fester. They're the James Pearce's and who's that other guy, Paul Joyce. If they knew they had no chance now, last week, last month, back in May, they shut shit down quick, because they're good at this, their club. They don't want their fans getting hyped over things that are not going to happen. They're very clever in terms of how they manage the emotions of their fan base. It's there. And my gut feelings right now, I'm going with 65% chance it happens. I think it's 100% that they get either Ekitike or Isak. I think they'll get one of those two. I really believe they'll get one of those two. And let me change that. 95%. I think they get one of those two. 65% that they go for Isak. Because I think even if Liverpool now did a U-turn and went and got Šeško and Newcastle get Ekitike, I still don't see both of them play. I still don't see Isak surviving more than another year or two before moving on. I think Ekitike is a replacement for Isak at some point anyway. So I think when they assess all of this Newcastle, it'd be like it's a year earlier than maybe want to lose Alexander Isak, but they're probably planning for his exit anyway. So I think, yeah, that's what I'm going with, 65% chance.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, right, if we look at sort of like the facts or maybe things that we probably know to be true, we look at the fact that Liverpool have probably had some encouragement from Isak or his agent about this deal. And any Newcastle fan that thinks that isn't the case is living in cloud cuckoo land. We know that's happened. We know I know the clubs are not supposed to do it, but we know clubs speak to agents and speak to players about this.
Like Spurs.
Yeah. Like Spurs, right? And if once in a blue moons, one team will get caught like Spurs did. We've got Gibbs White. So we know that Isak has probably given the okay to the move, or his agent has given the okay to the move. We know via David Ornstein that Liverpool have open contact with Newcastle. And we know from David Ornstein that Liverpool have said we're open to do a deal in the region of 120 million. And we know that when teams negotiate, they lowball, right, in the initial phase. So we know Liverpool have started at 120. They're probably willing to go up to maybe 135, maybe even 140, including add-ons. At that point, yeah, and you then look at the fact that Newcastle are trying to sign Ekitike, a new striker. And I think the deal... Honestly, I really don't want to be saying this because I don't want it to happen, but I think this deal might happen, man. I think this deal might happen. I think if Isak is saying to Liverpool that he fancies... Sorry, I think if Isak is saying to Newcastle that he fancies a change, I think it might happen. And I don't want it to happen, and I hope he doesn't go Liverpool, but I just think that, like, the fact David Ornstein has said that Liverpool have gone in with not an offer, but the intention and communication to Newcastle that they do a deal in a 120 million as an opening sort of phase of a negotiation. To me, I think that might get done, man.
Phases.
Yeah,
it's a great it's a great opening phase, great opening gambit. It really is. I think it will happen. This here says, did Liverpool get any insurance money for what happened? Listen. I don't want to talk. Very likely, yes, but it's not something I'm going to discuss on the air. Most players have insurances against them for clubs, as an example. But yes, I'll be honest with you. Thank you for the super chat, but I'm not discussing it, my friend. Okay. Just crazy to buy out. Oh, sorry, we'll come back to that. United. We'll come back to that in a minute. I fear not Liverpool nor City. Fucking hell, Shakespeare's here. I fear not Liverpool nor City. For too long, we carry a knife to a gunfight. Fuck, this is very Shakespeare. Give Gyokeres, Eze, and the left winger, then start the war. That's fighting talk. There, thank you, Conrad Moore. Most poetic super chat we've ever had. We're basically saying we'll give you a record bid for Isak now. If you reject it, then Isak leaves next season. The best replacement, Ekitike, is also gone. That's it, isn't it?
Well, this is one of the problems that Newcastle have, right? Osimhen's gone. Gyokeres is gone. Yeah. So if they don't if they don't sell Ekitike, Liverpool might come in for Ekitike. That's the rumours, right? So if Liverpool now go and get Ekitike and Newcastle hold on to Isak, I think Isak might leave next summer if he doesn't leave this summer. He could go Bayern if Kane leaves. He could go Barca. He could go maybe Real Madrid might want an actual legit striker, maybe PSG, whatever. Then they're looking around the market like who's available. So they're also got to think a little bit like if we hold on to him for a year, that's great. But then if we get rid of him next year, then who do we go and get? We could be cooked. So I don't know, man. I feel like Newcastle are in a bit of a weird spot here. Because on one hand, obviously you don't want to lose him, but if they don't lose him, then they lose out on Ekitike. Then who do they go and get next year?
I
No,
mean,
I agree. Yeah.
I'll
Sorry,
be,
go on,
I'll
Aaron.
be, I'll be gobsmacked if Isak's still there by the end of next season. He's definitely, if he's not going to move this year, he's going to move next year, isn't he? I mean, if Newcastle can keep him for another couple of years, then fair enough. But he'll have 2 years left on his deal next summer. Then it's just like
Yeah.
sell now, or as soon
And
as you start going into the years, the value goes
yeah,
down.
it does. And look, they should look at the Kudus situation. What you don't want to happen is, I mean, Ekitike comes in and does brilliantly and he starts more. What if Isak has a bit of an injury plague year? Then 2 years left on his deal. You might get even less. This is why, and someone here says, Tery hates Newcastle. It's laughable. It's never been about hating Newcastle, Daniel. It's been about engaging our brains. One, the deal has never been completely 100% shut down. So getting abused every day for saying this deal could happen, I've always found to be just so intellectually inept. It's unbelievable. It's hurt my brain intellectually, not my feelings, just my brain intellectually, because it's just ridiculous. Secondly, and I've complimented Newcastle along the way here. They're not got dumb owners. They're run well. They're going to understand the situation. They're going to look at it and go, he ain't going to renew his deal most likely. He's got 2 years left next year. Anything can happen over the next 12 months where you can lose valuation. I bet West Ham are kicking themselves. They were turning down 80, 90 millions a year ago, pushing for 100 million. They have an extra 30 million pound of income this year to spend on their struggling squad. Sometimes you've got to strike while the iron is hot, even if the player is delivering for you. Sometimes you have to get that decision right. Liverpool did it with Coutinho. They didn't want to sell him, but they also looked at it and went, look, he kind of wants out, but this money could do us a madness in the window. We can improve in multiple areas. And the money then spent on Van Dijk, on Alisson, is one of the reasons they become champions of Europe and champions of England. And I think your owners are smart enough to understand that. It's never been about hating Newcastle because I don't want him to leave. He's killed me at your club before and he will still continue to because Newcastle are better than Man United right now. But you really think I want Liverpool, my biggest rivals, to get Isak? I don't mean to sound rude, Daniel, but don't be so stupid. It's the most ridiculous thing you can say. I'm just laughing at the fact that people keep denying that this deal was plausible. It's ridiculous to deny it. Too many credible sources kept on talking about it without saying it's done, it won't happen, or it's shut down. But yeah, maybe the squad. Sorry, mate, go on, bro. Go on, mate. Go on.
That's why I think signing Ekitike for Newcastle now is a pretty smart move, really, to be honest with you, because even if they manage to hold on to Isak for another year and sell him next year, you've then got a striker already as a replacement. He's had a year of settling into the Premier League, a year of setting in playing football with Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? So he's used to it. I actually think it'd be a smart move. And I don't think his transfer fee will actually decline that much from 3 years left to 2 years left. I think they'll still get a sizey fee next summer. So I reckon it'd be a good, smart bit of business, to be fair, for Newcastle to just get him in over the line now. Because as well, if they sell Isak next summer, or even before they get a replacement in, everyone's going to know they've got a load of dough. So everyone automatically becomes 20, 30 million pound dearer. Do you know what I mean? So they lose a bit of negotiation leverage. So I think it's smart for me. And it keeps him away from Liverpool for another season. That I'll be double happy with.
Yeah. This year says maybe the squad won't gel. There's a lot of turnover. Do you think that could happen, LB, with Liverpool, with 2 new fullbacks, Havertz, Isak? Do you think there's a possibility that maybe next year they don't gel and don't click?
Well, I don't know, right? But something that I do find quite interesting is that, like, something that I get asked about quite a lot when I'm doing my streams and that, and it often comes from rival fans, and it's a genuine question, is, LB, do you not think City could struggle this year and be a bit of a transition because of all the sort of, like, new players you've got? And listen, it's a legitimate question, and we've probably spoke about it on this channel before. And the only answer is, I don't know. No, but we don't know until we actually see the season kick into gear, how quickly would these players develop. But I do find it quite interesting how this is the first time I've heard somebody ask the same question about Liverpool. They've got a new left back, a new right back, a new attacking midfielder. They're going to have a new striker and potentially a new left winger. Yeah, I never hear anybody ask the question about Liverpool. Could they potentially be in a transition year? They've got a load of new players. It's always about City, like City. And listen, again, the question's fair. The question's 100% fair. I'm not saying it's not a fair question. I just find that it's interesting how that question isn't asked about Liverpool. So to answer the question, Potentially. Again, it's the same answer that I've got for City. We don't fully know. I think for me, Frimpong coming in at right back. I don't think they'll miss Trent. I've said this before. I do not think they'll miss Trent at all. I've always thought Trent's overrated, and I don't think Liverpool will miss Trent whatsoever. Gyokeres, I think, is a great natural replacement for Robertson, albeit probably a couple of years too late. Probably should have signed him a couple of years ago, or someone like that a couple of years ago. And then obviously having an actual out-and-out striker for me is where it's going to be interesting for Liverpool, because obviously they had Firmino, he went. They had Nunez, but he was crap and then didn't really play too much. So I actually think having a striker will be the biggest change. I don't think Wirtz is going to massively affect the way they play or whatever. I just think it's going to be having that vocal point up top who they can actually rely on, because they couldn't rely on Nunez. I don't know, but it's an interesting one, man. Like as to why that question very rarely comes up about Liverpool.
Yeah, listen, I agree. There could be a transition period. There's also talk they might transition into a back three this year. So again, if they change their formation, and I'm not sure what they did for their preseason game. I didn't watch it, but if that's true, then again that question should be posed, because there is a lot of change of players. This was to a little bit earlier. He says, Tery, a real one, screw monetization, let them know. Well, I wouldn't screw it every day because I do run a business. But sometimes you've got to swear. Sometimes you've got to rant. Because I've been asked another question in a group chat. I want to pose this question to you. Because it's reported now that Man United have got AC Milan looking at Rasmus Højlund, because Inter Milan have pulled away. And Staffy asked the question, thoughts if INEOS fumble both Milan clubs coming in for Rasmus Højlund? I want to ask you a question on that. If they're not prepared to offer Man United enough money for the player, is that Man United being bad at negotiating, or correct for not accepting an offer that loses us money? Or do you think that the selling club should be able to convince AC Milan that, because by the way, we have to sell Rasmus for 55 million to make to break even. So if we sell him at 30, so do you think it shows INEOS are bad if they can't get 55 million plus for Rasmus Højlund this summer in a cash sale?
Yeah, but sometimes you have to sell the player, though, don't you?
That's cool. So you think selling at a loss is better than not selling him?
Højlund, yeah, I do.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not challenging.
Not in all situations, not in every single player, right? But Højlund, I'd pay money to get him out of the football club if I was United. I think he's that trash. I think he'll be more of a hindrance in training sessions, on the pitch, on the bench, than just getting rid. Sometimes in life, yeah, you have to just take the hit in it. You have to be like, you know what, this was an L. I'm gonna have to take a financial hit here. Yeah, see you later. Yeah, and listen, if you can get, obviously, I don't think you should just be like, yeah. Obviously, I was joking a little bit before. I don't think you should just force him out. There's still like over a month left of the transfer window. But as the transfer window, as the deadline day gets closer and closer, and you've still got Højlund on your books, the more that I think United are just going to have to be like, you know what, we just need to get rid of this guy by hook or crook. Yeah. So, yeah, I do think you're better off just selling him at a loss than keeping him.
Do you know what, as well, as in a Manchester United shirt, his value's only going down with time. Well, it is, though, isn't it? I can't believe he's being linked with AC Milan. I think he's absolute trash. I'm surprised he's not linked in the second tier of Italy. I think he's horrendous. And the fact that 50 million's being touted, I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Well,
he's not worth 20.
I look at it this way, though. I do get your point. My view is this, though. One thing that's damaged Man United many times in the past, I don't even know now, 5, 6, 7 years, is that we lose too much money on player sales and we overspend on players. And I think it makes us terrible in negotiations. So I'm just in this mindset of I'd rather keep him, maybe loan him, then bow down to another club and go, okay, you can have him for £20 million, and we end up losing £30 million over the next few years on him, because you're essentially, him being here is a problem. But I think that sets a longer term issue for us, like the news that we might be paying off Sancho to leave. More players now are going to basically what then will happen is every player leaving has the ability to go, listen to their new club, listen, offer me this salary. I won't accept it. But what I can do is get a severance package from Man United to leave. They'll pay me to leave their club, even though I've been shit. And then that way I get all my money I want. You guys get me for a price you're happy with, and we're laughing. We can't keep doing that. I almost feel like, yes, it's horrible in the short term to say no because you're stuck with players you don't want and you actually lose a bit more money. But I almost feel like we've got to set a precedent to these clubs and these players that we're not just going to bend over and have a new one created every 5 minutes. That is what bothers me more. So, yeah, look, I think it's almost impossible to convince AC Milan to spend 55 million. What I would look at, if the source is true, by the way, because I don't know this, I don't recognize the source, is I'd rather us put him on a loan for a year, cover his wages, and then in a year's time, we can accept less. In a year's time, we only owe 30 million on him. So a 30 million pound deal means we break even. And I just feel like we've got to get our business right. Because the one thing I would say is City and all the other clubs that we go, oh, look how well run they are. Because they sell at the right price and they buy at the right price. We're never going to be able to do that unless there's got to be a start point, right? There's got to be a point where we stop doing it, even if in the short term we have to sacrifice, because otherwise we're never getting out of the rut that we're in. So,
but it's all self-inflicted, though, Terry. To be fair, the
course
only way you stop that is by overpaying on ridiculously crap players. To be fair, it's your own fault. And I actually agree with LB. I think you just get rid now. Don't prolong it for another year. Just cut your losses.
The problem is that
learn your lesson.
But the problem is if we get rid of it, is that clubs will try and do it to us again. Well, United have yielded again. They've yielded again.
Yeah, but then that comes down to you, though, Tel. If you allow it to happen, then more for you again, isn't it?
But exactly.
You know what I mean? You cut the cycle by you stopping the cycle.
So then you can't agree with LB. We must not do it. Because if we don't stop doing it, we'll blame ourselves. We've got to. I look at it being cold turkey. Someone's, heaven forbid, no one watching is. If you're a drug addict, if you're addicted to alcohol, there comes a point where you've just got to stop. There's going to be, anytime you quit something that's bad for you, there's a painful period. Nothing's easy to quit, whether it's good or bad for you. And I just think we've got to go through that suffering. And I'd rather suffer for a better tomorrow than just, as you said, Aaron, I think you're right. If we keep doing it and just yielding to all these other clubs, we're never going to get out of this cycle. We're going to keep burning. We already buy shit, so we already waste our money. But then we overpay, so we lose more. Then we undersell. So basically, it's like a 70 million pound dud ends up costing us 130 million.
We do the same
crazy.
Thing. That's why I know exactly what you're on about, because we do the same thing. Absolutely. We're ridiculous. We buy horrendously, put them on absolutely astronomical wages, which cripples the sale value anyway, or at least it lowers the options of other clubs wanting to get him. I.e. Havertz, 280k a week. Who's coming in with him giving us our money back, 65 million? Who's coming in for him at 280k a week? Just do it. It's all self-inflicted, isn't it?
I know. And look, and every year it changes because the way it's amortized, and it's more about the trading accounts than any one year. But I do get you, man. I do get you. And listen, I understand what Staffy's saying. Like, I'd love us to sell him. I'm just, there's part of me that's like, I can't quite put my finger on it. I just feel as though if we keep letting people walk all over us, if we keep being doormats, we're never going to get the respect we deserve. Like, if Man United went to Newcastle, even with the money, and said we're going to do this to the Ekitike deal, I think they'd fucking laugh at us. I genuinely think they would laugh at us. They really, really would. So, yeah, it's crazy to me. This here says, LB, how are Chelsea looking now?
They're looking all right. Probably top 4 again next year, I reckon. No, I don't think you've got enough for the league, bro.
I think, to be fair, with Chelsea, I reckon it'd be Arsenal and Chelsea maybe finishing third, possibly. It'd be one of the two. I can see Liverpool and City pulling away at some stage in the league. I think they are definitely better than Arsenal, but Chelsea could nick a cheeky third. I think they'll finish top 4. Definitely, they're looking really good. It's just whether they can be consistent, because that's one of the things. You see Chelsea blowing teams away last year, and then they'll lose 2 games. Then they'll win 3, then they'll lose and draw 1. They can't ever be consistent, and they definitely won't ever be that with the crap keeper that they've got. They definitely need a keeper if they're gonna try and be consistent and challenge for anything. What they've got in there between the sticks is absolutely atrocious, isn't it?
I hear that.
Yeah.
Liverpool can sell Diaz, Nunez, and get Rodrygo. They can.
Bro, if they got Rodrygo and Isak, then oh my god, they're buying the league.
Done.
They're buying the league.
Buying the league.
Buying the league, bro. Checkbook manager.
Checkbook man. Oh yeah, but that won't fly. That won't fly, will it? But yeah. Just crazy to buy out. Put your feet put your feeting in that sand and bench him. Set a standard, and players don't want to rot on the bench. Set a precedent. Yeah, I kind of agree. I know. Listen, I know we'll lose out, probably even more financially in the short term, but I feel like in the longer term there'll be more gain. I really do feel there'll be more gain. Like, I don't know about you boys. You've ever gone on a diet where you've been eating crap for too long? You start eating well. First few days you can feel like crap. You can get fucking headaches and you feel tired and your body's clucking that box of Pringles or the sweets. But you do feel better in the long term, and I just think in life that's the way it is. Pressure Chelsea to be best team in the world. Is he saying that should there be pressure on Chelsea because they're now the best team in the world?
There should be pressure on Chelsea because they've spent £2 billion.
Yes,
that's why.
Absolutely.
It was always going to get back there, wouldn't they, Chelsea? Because they was always going to throw loads of money at it. So it was more of a case of when instead of if, wasn't it, really?
Exactly. Facts. Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, the money was there and they've done it. And they are looking really good. They're looking really, really, really good indeed. There's just been another update as well on the situation with Isak. Where's it gone? Because it was just in front of me and I've lost it now. It says here. Let me break this to load my page. It says this is just coming from Sammy McBell. This is how you know this deal is probably going to happen. There's too many journalists getting information. It says Liverpool have made genuine moves towards a deal to sign Isak in recent days. It said according to sources, it is believed a package to successfully get Isak out of St James's Park will cost up to 130 million. Though Newcastle have been steadfast in their stance. Oh, that word steadfast. That must be the word Newcastle were pushing out, right? That he is not for sale. So yeah, Sammy McBell is now pushing that news out as well. That's dropped in the last 10 minutes. So Sammy McBell, Ornstein, Jacobs, Sasha Tavolieri, Fabrizio. Yeah, but Newcastle fans, it's definitely not on. It definitely won't happen, Newcastle fans. No, definitely won't happen. But yeah, that's crazy business. Speaking of crazy business, it's been an interesting week, Aaron, for Arsenal. Madueke, first of all, which sent people into meltdowns. But then Gyokeres is, the deal's in principle. There's a few bits and pieces to get finalized with Sporting, but it looks as though you're going to get one of the best strikers in the world. A very contrasting 48 hours, really, for yourselves. Angle at one deal, but barring Erling Haaland or Isak, I can't think of a better striker in the world that you could have possibly signed.
Yeah, listen, I'm buzzing with that, and you're absolutely bang on the money on that. Arsenal massively needed a gunman, and like you said, in terms of available players out there, he's the best in the business. And I'm buzzing that we've got him through the door. I don't think he's going to be hitting astronomical numbers like he did at Sporting, But if he can get between 20, 25 goals next season in the Premier League, I reckon Arsenal will have a decent season. I don't know what that'll end up like, but I reckon we'll have a decent season with someone like that. And makes me laugh because I sit there and I'm like, Gyokeres, bang, they've identified a player we desperately need. They've gone and got it done. And then just take 2 steps backwards, signing Madueke for 50 million. It's madness. Just when I think they might have finally learned, Arsenal Football Club, they go get Reece Nelson with a bandana. It's ridiculous. Like 50 million. And do you know what? At the end of the window, if we do actually get, say, Rodrygo, we probably won't. Let's get that right. And then Eze as well. Maybe the Madueke thing don't look too good, but from where I'm looking, it's frustrating because I can just see Rodrygo getting maybe available in about 2-3 weeks' time, and then we're like, "Well, sorry, we just spent money on Madueke." That's something that I really, really fear will happen, and that will take on spending, I think, the 350 million if you get all of that, and we ain't spending that money. And if we're blowing, and if he's the winger, if he's going to be that left winger, I'm not happy with it. Madueke, he's not good enough. 13 league goals in 3 seasons. He's smack bang average player. Can any of you boys see where he's going to improve? Maybe he'll get a couple of goals, but I mean, it don't set the world on fire, does it? That signing, it doesn't give me goosebumps like apparently Arsenal and Arteta seem to think it will. It's Madueke, for crying out loud. It's crap. It's frustrating, but on the flip side, look, I'm buzzing. I'm not going to keep it too negative. Victor Gyokeres is a banging deal. That's exactly what we want, but we just have to wait and see. The transfer window itself, I think, for Arsenal has been a little bit shit. If I'm being honest with you, 200 million without an Isak an Eze or someone like that. It's all been on squad fillers. Zubimendi, not bad signing. Mosquera, that cool. Kepa, cool. 200 million, really, all you got to show for it, Gyokeres. It's a little bit disappointing to me.
You think Zubimendi's just a squad filler?
Well, he's a replacement. You know what I mean? He probably will start, to be fair, but I mean, it's not as if he's an addition, is it? He's a replacement to Thomas Partey. And maybe we'll see that it'll be a slight upgrade. We don't know yet. But I think, considering Arsenal Football Club spent 65 million in the midfield on Norgard and Zubimendi, I don't really see it that much better than last season. So if I'm being honest with you, I'd rather that 65 spent elsewhere, i.e. a Rodrygo, where we desperately need improvements.
Yeah, because I think Zubimendi is a downgrade, but he's a good player. However, if you didn't sign Zubimendi, who would you have in midfield, bro?
Oh, yeah. Look, I do totally appreciate, obviously now Thomas Partey has gone, but what I'm saying is it's not really an upgrade from last season, really, is it?
No, I agree. I agree it's not an upgrade on last season. However, yeah, you just said you would rather that money been spent on Rodrygo, but if you would have got Rodrygo, what would your midfield have been?
I mean, I'd have dropped Declan Rice down to that 6 straight away, and I'd have probably put Miles Lewis-Skelly as the left 8. That instantaneously, I think, is better than what we've got there. Of Rodrygo in there, and then that midfield. Declan Rice, he done well at left 8. To be fair, I'll give him his due, but he can play that 6. He's excellent at number 6. And then you got Miles Lewis-Skelly is not a left back. He just performs really well at left back. He's not a left back. He's a left 8. I'd rather him there. Absolutely, tenfold. I think that midfield's actually a bit of an improvement, to be fair. And then you've got a Rodrygo in there. It's an astronomical improvement on the dull, boring Martinellis in the Trossards. I think that squad looks better.
I actually think, though, because I hear that you need a Rodrygo, right? I hear that. But I actually think you're sort of falling into the trap of picking one or the other. Whereas what you should be saying, in my opinion, is you should be needing both. And Rodrygo is what you need. But I don't think getting Rodrygo... I think if you get Rodrygo, but then have Lewis-Skelly in the midfield, I don't think that could win you the league. As good as Lewis-Skelly did last year, like, everyone calm down a minute. Guys played about 20 games, and now we're saying put him in midfield in the left 8 for a team that's trying to win the league and the Champions League. I think that's way too soon. I think Arsenal need to be going getting Zubimendi and Rodrygo.
Oh, and but that's not what you asked, to be fair. You said about replacing, that's not what you asked. So obviously, I'd rather have both of them all day long. Yeah. Why wouldn't I?
The thing is, for me, if you don't go and get like a top class left winger, I just think you're third again or second. Because I just don't think you've got enough. You've got to look at what Liverpool are doing. Look at the signings that City have made. I think, like, Zubimendi, that midfield now looking all right. I still think you'll have creativity problems in certain areas, but it is what it is. Gyokeres, great signing. Top side. And the price, by the way, I can't believe the price that they got him. I think that is super cheap for a guy that scored 50 goals. But that left wing, for me, is it's just levels below where it needs to be. It really is. So you've got to go in big. And is Eze the guy? Listen, Eze's a good player. 27 years old. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's better than what you've got. So, but Rodrygo's the one.
That's what I was saying. If I could have had a choice, obviously I know the 6 would have been needing an upgrade, but I would have chose a left wing as priority over a central midfielder like a Zubimendi. I know we would have needed someone in there anyway, but if you told me one or the other, I'm looking at that front 3, and it could be either Havertz, Trossard, and Saka, or then you get a player in like Rodrygo. All of a sudden, it's totally different, that front 3. You're looking at Rodrygo, a Saka, and a Gyokeres, and all of a sudden you're thinking, "Wow, that is a dangerous football team." Like that's a good front 3. It's totally levels across what we had last season. But obviously, of course, I'd rather have a Zubimendi in there as well. I just think that front 3 has been stale for so long. The strike force at Arsenal Football Club, I'd have chose that all day long. Oh look, Zubimendi's in there. I think he'll do well. It's just an unknown. You don't know yet. Obviously, the same with Gyokeres applies, etc., etc. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, Arsenal Football Club still need to do a lot more in the window, and I don't think actually we will. Maybe we'll get Eze in, but I still think we'll be massively short in that left wing department. I can't see us getting Rodrygo as well as Eze on top of what we've already got. Absolutely not.
Not even after spending, because there's a lot of players that you're looking to sell. Sort of, we kind of added it up. We added it up conservatively yesterday morning, and I think it comes in at around 150 to 170. If we're just, and we were sort of basically pricing all, and I think you might get more, but we were pricing Fabio Vieiras and Reece Nelsons and all those guys. We were sort of putting them all in like 20 million each. You know, if you were able to sell them and maybe sell Martinelli, do you not think
generous? That is generous, man.
Again, maybe your club can't sell him for that amount, but I was thinking if Elanga's 55 million, if Noni is 48 million, you should be able to get 20 million pound for Reece Nelson.
You should, but this is Arsenal Football Club, one of the worst sellers in the Premier League, and over a long period of time, we'll probably get 10 million for Reece Nelson. We'll probably get 15 for Fabio Vieira max. You know, look at us. We inherited a front three of Lacazette, Aubameyang, and Pepe at 180 million quid, and we let them all go for free. We can't sell players for love nor money. We've been like that for a long time, really, especially under Mikel Arteta. We just let them all go for free. We've got absolutely no pedigree when it comes to selling players. Zinchenko, why is he going to probably go for 10 million? Because at Manchester City, he was on 20k a week, and now he's on 150. We handcuff ourselves in the transfer market all the time. So that's another 10 million. You know, when you look at all the sales there, you're probably not fetching any more than 60, 70 million on all of them squad sort of players. When you add the Martinelli in there and et cetera, it goes up a little bit more, obviously. But if you're going to go do the Zinchenkos and the Nelsons and the Fabio Vieiras, etc., the Lokongas, what are you getting for him? 5 million, 10 million? They're finished players. And we're crap sellers. So, you know, what can you get out there? 60 million? Who are you buying with that? And that's if we sell them. We'll probably end up loaning most of them again. Straight loan with no obligation, because we can't sell for love nor money. It's frustrating, but yeah, I know what you mean. Ideally, I'd like a Martinelli out the door and Trossard, and then just go and get a Rodrygo in there with that money. But they're never going to do that, to be fair. Maybe.
So are you not feeling confident about the league then this year?
As it currently is, you know, it'd be interesting to see how the team sort of does. You know, Gyokeres, that does sort of put a bit more hope in me, if I'm being totally honest with you. It'd be interesting to see how he does, how many goals he scores. But if I'm being totally honest with you, we've still got this manager. You could give me Eze, you could give me Rodrygo, Gyokeres, Zubamendi, all of them not. But the worst thing at the football club's still the manager. So whilst I would be buzzing because I know the next manager will absolutely have an excellent squad, we won't win shit under Mikel Arteta. 19 competitions we've entered since we won the FA Cup, and consecutive failures in 19. It's ridiculous. We don't win anything. Brother, LB, you had a season, a trophyless season, for the first time since 16-17 last year. We've had 5 of them. 5 of them on the trot. It's not good enough, mate. And we're not getting anywhere soon. And people will go, oh, yeah, but we got to a Champions League semi-final. Yeah, we lost that after 3 minutes. Oh, well, we got to a Carling Cup final. No, okay, cool. We didn't score a goal and lost 4-0 on that aggregate. We got absolutely taken the piss out of in every single leg. We lost all 4 of them. So we're not even a semi-final team. Well, we qualified for a semi-final, but it ain't our level because we lost all the games. Humiliated in some of them. It's ridiculous. So what have we got? What we improved? We lost to one of the worst Manchester United teams I've ever seen in my life at home with 10 men. What are we doing? We haven't got out the 3rd round of the FA Cup in years. The only 2 times we got out of it were Crystal fucking Palace and Oxford City. Come on, man. Mikel Arteta just don't know how to win. So what?
No, I'm with you. I think Arteta will fail, but
of course he will.
Because sort of what I'm building up to is there sort of like, because obviously the Arsenal fan base has been split for over a decade, let's be honest, on various different topics. Yeah. But is there a unity in the fan base that, like, if he doesn't win a trophy this year, he actually, because all the Arsenal fans that have been backing him for years, what are these guys saying? Have they come to the point now where they're like, right, there's no more defending, like he has to actually win now? Or is it still going to be, is it still going to be a situation where if you don't win anything next year, are you still going to have people backing him? Or is everyone sort of on this page now where it's like, right, he's had 6 years, he's had nearly £1 billion, like he's got to win or he's got to go? Like, is there some unity in the fan base on that or not?
Mate, they say it all, but then next year they'll just be the excuses again, because they said it all the same last year, mate. You had all the Agals and all of them people going, yeah, if we don't win anything, you know, I want him out. If we don't win a trophy, I want him out. And then look what happened. They're all like, we'll just give him another year. That's what it'll be next year. We'll just give him another year. All the injuries were unprecedented. Come off it.
So you think that come to the end of next season, if you don't win anything, there'll still be a load of Arsenal fans saying keep him.
Yeah, they're giddy over him. I'm sure they've got life-size Mikel Arteta poster on their ceiling, like, and give himself a little sticky wank sock for it, mate. Honestly, they're weird. They're weird, most of this fan base. They love him. They're in love with the manager. Oh, they think the club's inception was not 2019. They're ridiculous. Honestly, mate, it's no good. It's no good. And you get people like me going, oh, he's miserable and all that. I just want my football club to win. I've got standards at my football club. You know what? A lot of the top gooners, they're all going, oh, yeah, just wait as long as it takes. Maybe we'll win next season. Maybe win the other season. What are we doing? Come on, man. Where's the standards, man? They're in the bin at this football club. The fan base is a joke. The vast majority, they are a joke. There's about 10% that, like me, that people will say miserable, toxic, this or that. That's not. I'd articulate what I see with my eyes and say it with my gob. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's facts. Arsenal Football Club haven't been good enough. The football's shit. It is shit. The football's regressing. The points tally in the Premier League's regressing. We can't get out the fucking third round of the FA Cup still. We get taken the piss out of when teams actually start playing properly in semi-finals. What are we doing? Where are we going under this manager? Where's the positive? In every metric apart from one game lost last season, we regressed in. Scored 22 less goals in the league last season, 10 points behind. What? Come on, 13 draws. That's by design because the manager ain't got a Scooby-Doo what he's doing. The football's shit. And he don't know what he's doing. He's signing Havertz. Come on, man. Jesus, Zinchenko's. The squad's not good enough. And it's because of the manager. And I'll think that. And the fan base, they're one of the worst things about the football club because they just blindly back it. It's ridiculous.
One of the areas though where they're going to back it is if you say the squad isn't good enough, but then the manager isn't good enough to get you over the line. Is that not a bit of a paradox? Because if the squad isn't good enough to win, then, and I'm talking about if you're going to try in a debate, we're talking purely a debate here. So let's forget our own subjective views. You're debating somebody about when will you turn on Arteta. Doesn't it make it hard for you to win the argument if you're giving fuel to that debate by saying the squad isn't good enough? You're essentially fueling. Say you're debating Igal. You give Igal the silver bullet because you say the squad isn't good enough yourself. So therefore he says, well, you can't make me fully judge Arteta because you've also said the squad ain't good enough.
Yeah, but good managers take a squad that probably isn't the best and they get them over the line and win stuff. Come on, man. The best team don't win everything every year. It takes a good manager to get a team over the line.
He can win more trophies, but you look at Pep and
squad, but they got a manager that done the business. Look at Crystal Palace. They didn't have the best squad, but they got a manager
I agree
that
with that. No, I agree. No, I don't disagree with you. I think you should have won more.
My point is I reckon a better manager would have taken this team further. A better manager would have probably won us a Premier League over the last 2 years.
So the squad is good enough to win. Yeah. But that's more my argument. I think when it comes to winning debates, I think being careful with words is important. So therefore, the squad is good. I believe the squad has been good enough to win league titles, which is why I judge Arteta in the last 2 years. Yeah,
but yeah, right. So I technically tripped up slightly on a little.
No, I'm not trying to trip you up. I'm trying to say when you're talking to an Igal and these individuals, that's the only way. So again, what I would do if I was talking to these other Arsenal fans is I'd just be like, listen, you're right. Look what a summer we had. Look how brilliant the squad is. You agree the squad's brilliant, Igal? Yeah, it's amazing. We should be winning with it. Bang, got ya. Now hold the manager accountable. If you're having these conversations,
I'll get that.
That's all I'm saying. I'd get them like that personally, and then it's fun. By the way, people, it doesn't mean anything. It's then fun for me to watch people try and squirm out of it. I think it's brilliant. Later in the season, watching the excuses, it's amazing. That's why I love content. That's why I do it. But listen, Arsenal for me, I think you're actually having a pretty good summer. And I don't even think, again, if you get Eze, I don't think the creative issues will be too much of a problem. I think with Saka, with Odegaard, and with Eze, if you've got those three in and around your front three in your attacking midfield positions, I think that relinquishes any excuses of not being able to create because they're good at doing that. I think it adds goals. Gyokeres himself, even if he has 30% less goals a season, that's still 30 plus in all comps. I think there's almost no excuses. You've signed good quality backups for the fringe parts of your squad, and let's see what else you do. But I think there hasn't really been an excuse for Arteta the last few years. He should be judged, and your club should be judged on what you win. I think you're spending a lot of money again. I think you're buying some very good players, in my own personal view. Arteta next season should absolutely be judged on the trophies that he does or does not win, performances in those big games, especially with Gyokeres coming in, because what was said last year and I think it's important to not forget it, and I agreed with it, is that the striker was the main thing that was needed to get Arsenal over the line. Didn't happen.
Marino and Calafiori.
And you missed it. He's got that striker now. There's nowhere to hide. And he haven't just got a striker. Barring Erling Haaland and Mbappe, you've gone and got the most prolific man in the world.
Yeah,
and I don't.
It's too late, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a year late, but look, it's done now, and you're there, and you judge it on that. But there's nowhere for him to hide, in my opinion.
Yeah, I quickly, Terry. I agree with you now, Terry, because I think that Arteta has had a bit more time than he probably should have, right? However, I also do understand why some Arsenal fans, the Arteta in guys, have backed him, right? Because they've been finishing second and they've been getting close and they get to the Champions League semi-final or whatever, right? So it's like they have been getting, they've been doing all right at the top.
Yeah.
However, one good thing, right, I'll probably say, both sets of fans on whatever side of the argument. But what this will do is if Arsenal don't win anything this year, I don't think any Arsenal fan can really then have a problem with people questioning Arteta about his future at the football club, because you cannot have Gyokeres, who scored 50 goals last year, Saka, one of the best right wingers in the world, Rice, Zubimendi, that's £150 million right there, by the go. Odegaard, an unbelievable defence, a great goalkeeper, and then not win anything. So it is very much Netflix FC, next season FC, as Torres puts in the chat. However, I just think that this is it now. If he doesn't win anything this season, I think that there can be no questions about these Arsenal fans like Aaron, who are basically doubting this manager. And to be fair, like I say, I already think that it's been a long time anyway. I mean, it has been 6 years on it since he won a trophy. So I think this just says to Arteta, right, you've got no more. You can't complain about nothing else. Last year you complained about a striker. You've got everything now.
Sorry. For fairness, though, I also think I understand why people defend him too, because I think the people on the Arteta inside, I think they believe the Arteta outers will also move the goalpost if he does win. And I'm not saying you will, because there's no evidence of that. We'll have to wait and see when someone wins. But when I watch, especially when I watch Arsenal fans on Arsenal platforms debate, I sit there and I'm so intrigued. And what I read between the lines is the Arteta outers basically saying, yeah, but you're never going to turn on Arteta no matter how bad he is. And what I see from the Arteta inners is a sense of, but you guys will never give him credit even if he deserves it. And that's why I was saying last year, I think it's become a bit of a stale debate, because a lot of people are pushing for that initial opinion they had in 2019. I want to win that debate, as opposed to often looking at what's best for their football club. And I think sometimes that gets lost when I'm listening. It seems less about what do Arsenal need and more, I want to be right. And I think that goes for both sides, both extreme sides of that argument. But I do get where they're coming from as well, because I think there'll be some gooners, if next season you win an FA Cup and come second in the league, will say, well, it's a trophy, but it's not enough. I believe there are some that if he wins the Prem, will say, and just bookmark this and maybe see, yeah, but it's 1 in 6 years, Terry. I want more than 1 in 6 years. There'll be people that do that. And that's, I think, where these arguments become difficult. Both sides are challenging the intellectual honesty of the other side. And sometimes I think that's why the arguments happen. I think in everyone's heart of hearts, they kind of agree with large parts of each other, but nobody wants to back down first. So it's very interesting to watch.
There's no excuses left, though. There's no excuses left.
I agree. I agree. This squad is good enough to win trophies. It may not be good enough to win the league, especially what Liverpool are doing, but there are other competitions to win. It always depends on how you go out, who beats you. Like last year, going out the way you did to Man United in the FA Cup, that makes it hard to defend Arteta, because it wasn't like you were beaten by the best team in the world where you were down to 10 men away from home. You literally had about 40 minutes of the game against 10 men and you couldn't score, missed open goals. What your goalkeeper was doing on those penalties, I still laugh when I see it now. He was diving on our run-up, so every player just tapped it the other way. There's rights to criticize that. There absolutely is. This year says this panel, third best team maybe if they don't win Arteta out. God forbid we have context, and the way he's downplaying Zubimendi. Yeah, I mean, what do you make to that comment? If you're saying they're the third best team, if you think
there or thereabouts, we could be. Yeah.
But to that question, just to answer the super chat, if they're the third best team, surely there can't be an expectation to win the league. the same as LB, think City can win it, but don't believe they will, must change your expectation in terms of league title. Not other trophies, but league title, if they're the third best team.
Yeah. I don't think we'll win it. Yeah, because we're not good enough. Yeah. What more can you say to that? Yeah, isn't it? We ain't good enough. We've probably got the third best squad, maybe third, fourth. Chelsea's got really good squad. To be fair, you know, we're just not there. I think we're all right, but under this manager, yeah, for me, not good enough. Not good enough. Super Mendy, I didn't ever really knock him. I just basically sort of said we don't know. He might not be an upgrade. He might not be a downgrade from Thomas Partey. Because I think that's fair to say. We ain't seen him play in the Premier League yet.
Wayne here says the squad isn't good enough. These players aren't good enough, but a better manager would win with this squad. That's not enough. That's not good enough. Nonsense is what Wayne says here.
Yeah. Well, so you're telling me over the last 2-3 years, if we had a better manager with a bit more pedigree in there, we'll never know, but we probably would have won something. 150%.
You definitely. If you would have had Carlo Ancelotti,
gonna say that, bro.
Or a Klopp,
Ten Hag, you'd have won something.
We'd have one league title. We'd have
one got to 2 finals. He got to more finals than Arteta.
We'd have one league title.
Nagelsmann, Flick, any of these managers that have been available over the last couple of years, there's no doubt in my mind that Arsenal would have won a trophy. Yeah. Even if it was just a Carabao, they would have won something, man. 100%.
Yeah, and there you go. Yeah, I don't think it's that nonsense. I don't really think it's that nonsensical to think that, to be fair. You know, better managers, they win stuff. Arteta don't win anything. He don't. 5.5 years ago, won the FA Cup. Cool. Well done. I'll give him his credit for that. That was 5.5 years ago, man. How's he lived off that for 5 years? I'll never know. Madness.
The 2 primary first team targets who everyone could see with Arsenal was getting a striker and left winger. If a good left winger isn't signed, it will still be an average window. Zubimendi and Gyokeres are improvements, is what said there by Pratt. Thank you. Keep speaking the truth, Aaron. Arteta's sexuals are sick, is what Stavros says here. What standards are you holding us to? 20 years, no league or Champions League. What are these standards you are talking about? Genuine question, not a smart ass one.
2004. Them standards. Having a good team, expecting to win. That's the standards that I want. And I think over 5.5 years, with nearly £1 billion spent after this summer, we probably should be there or thereabouts with that. But we're not. That's the standards I want. That geezer right behind me, Dennis Bergkamp standards. Winning Premier Leagues, going into a season thinking, I think we'll win it this year. We don't think that because we know we're not good enough. Why did everyone complain about the league fixtures? They've complained about them because they know that we're not good enough to come out of that. If we were good enough, you go, all right, who cares? It's a bit tricky, isn't it? But you go, we'll probably get out of that, all right? We know that we're not good enough deep down. It's frustrating. But look, it is what it is, man. Standards, that's my standards. Other people, they're happy with second place. It's not the Olympics. You don't get a fucking silver medal. You don't. You get absolutely nothing unless you win something. First place, or what's the point? What's the point? It's all about winning. LB, bro, look at all the success you've had. That's what it's all about. I don't know if you go to games or anything, my friend, but, you know, it's all about that success. What have we had? We have had nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's what it's all about.
It wasn't all about winning when LB was a kid. He didn't pick City for winning. No disrespect, but it's true. It's true. I do get your point, but City fans, well, young ones did. No one LB's age picked City because they were winners. He picked them for other reasons than winning. But standards change over time, and this is also this is true.
And fans have different standards for their own clubs. We've got fans in our fan base that think it's unacceptable that we didn't win anything last year. And we've got fans in our fan base who say if we don't win anything ever again, they don't give a shit because they've seen us win everything now and we were shit like 20 years ago and who cares?
And I bet they're the older fans who grew up when Chelsea's fan base.
Majority of them are the older ones. It's like, you know, people are arguing all the time on Twitter and I was just like, oh, it's okay to have different expectations for your club, man. Like, there's not a specific way of supporting a club or he's right and he's right. But at the end of the day, like, the aim of the game at the end of the day is to win. And you can't just go year and year and year and year and year, especially when you spent £1 billion, and not eventually ask a question. So, anyway, to sort of sum up that point is I do think that this is it now for Arteta. He's got to win something this year for me.
But LB, we finished second 3 times in a row, so it's all good. He took us out the depth of hell. Don't forget that. Don't forget that he took us out the depths of hell and finished second 3 times in a row.
Yeah, so exactly. So some fans in your fan base will be
They
like,
think that's
well, we
good.
finished. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
But it's
bro,
not,
This
though.
is
That's
the
not
thing, though.
success.
This is, I agree with LB
I agree.
100%.
It's not success.
I agree 100% with LB. This is the thing. You're you're similar age to me. I'm guessing, Aaron. You look it right,
Yeah.
and I mean
Thank
that
you.
with respect. So you grew up when
I didn't know
Arsenal
you was
really.
25.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you were 25, your mindset might be different because when you grew up, Arsenal were one of the best teams in the world. There are younger Arsenal fans who've grown up, and they saw bad Wenger teams and struggling. So this for a lot of them is the best they've ever seen Arsenal. The same for City. The older City fans and older Chelsea fans that knew their clubs before the Sheikh, before Roman, they are far more accepting or relaxed, I suppose is a better word for it, when things are going bad, because they remember their entire childhood or life being like that until this rich owner came along. And I'm not disrespecting that the new owners coming in, owners can change the fortunes of clubs. I think Newcastle fans, the ones that remember Mike Ashley, what we're all seeing now as adults is the Mike Ashley situation. Even if they have a bad year under the Sheikh, none of them are going to dislike it as much as they did under Mike Ashley. But these younger Newcastle fans growing up now that will never remember Mike Ashley, the ones that are 5-6 years old, in 15 years' time, if they're in a bad year, they're not going to remember Mike Ashley. Equally, Man United fans that are babies now, like my kids that are watching United with me, they hate it. They've only seen crap. They've never seen anything good. So there is this thing because it depends on the era that you're from. And I think that's an important part that I think we often forget in the I think you're right, LB. There isn't a right and a wrong way. The only thing I ever ask for is sort of consistency, I suppose, in what people are asking for.
Yeah, we consistently fail.
Yeah. I meant your own opinions. Not on the pitch. Yeah, I get you. This says also Eze isn't a left winger, even though I love him and want him. Plus, our excuses for missing out on everyone because the club and Arteta have actively chosen to go and splash the cash on Madueke. This I agree with, though. So Ben Jacobs said last night that Ekitike Eze is a attacking midfield option, not a wing option. So then it comes down to decision making because if that's it, you buy no one else. No left winger, no Gordon, no Rodrygo, nobody. That's a conscious decision to go for Madueke over one of those guys, in my opinion. So it should be criticized. If you do both, I think it changes everybody's minds. I think that's really fair. I wouldn't play Eze regularly out on the left wing either. I'd play him as an attacking midfielder.
I'd love him to displace Odegaard, if I'm being honest with you. I think that'd be my perfect scenario. Yeah,
I think you can. We definitely can win the league this season. Saka, Gyokeres, and Martinelli looks better to me on paper than Salah, Gakpo, and Diaz if it stays like that. Yeah, Liverpool adding a number 9, bruv. And I got Wirtz behind it now. Like, I do get your point. On paper, I think you're right. On paper, you could argue it's better, all fit, all firing. But it's probably going to be Isak, if not Ekitike, joining with Wirtz behind them. You can't factor that out. You can't, because that's a reality. Why no level-headed Arsenal fans that can debate always the weird? Look, Aaron's not a weirdo. Like, let's be fair. Listen.
Oh, how do you know? Might be.
Aaron might be at the weekends. You know what I mean? I don't know. Let's keep it respectful.
You don't want
to. Who built the squad? ISD. In the last three years ago, you forget these are Arteta's players. They wouldn't be here to say other managers would win with them. Entitled is what Brian thinks. Thinks you're being entitled.
I don't get it. What's he on about?
I think he's saying Arteta built this squad. I think he's saying the squad that's been built that you think could win the league with another manager wouldn't be here without Arteta. So we have no way of knowing whether another manager would win with it.
I disagree with that comment.
Yeah.
He spent nearly £1 billion.
Yeah,
how much you spent now? £1 billion.
Oh yeah, so it's been knocking on that door. Just
knocking on £1 billion in what 6 years? Let's not pretend like he's been going to League Two and buying these players for £10 million and £5 million and free transfers. This guy spent £150 million now on Zubimendi and Rice. He's got Odegaard, who they signed from Real Madrid. He spent 60-odd million quid on Havertz. He's got Saka, who come through the academy, one of the best right wingers in the world. He's got this amazing defense. He signed about 7 goalkeepers. So again, it's about balance. I don't agree with that comment one bit.
Yeah. Look, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's unreasonable for me to sit here. I don't think it's entitled to expect us to have some form of tangible success within 6 years of spending nearly £1 billion. I think that's fair to say. That's not entitled. I'm not sitting here and telling you I want to win the quad every year. I'm saying I expect us to win something. I expect us to win one of them 3 Premier League titles over the last season. Definitely. Do I expect 3? Nah, no way. You know, I'd have liked 3. Of course I would. Absolutely, goes without saying. But I'd at least want 1 and another cup. I'd say that would be a reasonably successful sort of period. If we nick 2 trophies in a league in his tenure, I'll go, yeah, fair enough. We always want more as fans. That goes without saying. But at least that would be some form of success. This is nothing. Second, come on. Second 3 years in a row. That's all well and good. Look what happened last time we done that, Tel. We sandwiched between a double win in 98 and 2002. What's this sandwich between? 5th place bottling to Spurs, and who fucking knows next year? Do you know what I mean? It's not good enough. Not good enough. We don't know what's going to happen next year, but based on likelihoods, Arteta's not got it over the line. We're probably not going to win anything considering what Man City are doing and what Liverpool are doing. Especially if they get Isak. It'd just be another failure. That's why probably the cups are even more imperative for Arsenal actually this season than probably in the last 2 or 3 seasons. Because I just can't see us winning the league or the Champions League. So, you know, maybe nick a little cheeky Carabao Cup here. I'll be reasonably happy with, I guess.
There's a trophy at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is it.
A trip to Wembley, mate. That's what it's all about. I want to go to Wembley, isn't it? That's what it's all about. That's why we pay the money.
Crayon Dave here says, Aaron, I think it means, would you want him to stay if he wins the Champions League or League?
I feel like he would deserve another crack at it next year. Absolutely, yeah. I think it'd be unfair to then sack him as a defending
deserves
champion
another
of the
crack at
Champions
it,
League.
bro. What do you mean deserves another crack at it?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah. What if he won the Champions League this year? I think he would deserve.
But the way
another,
you said it, then, the way you said deserves another crack at it.
Yeah. Why
if he
not?
wins you the Champions League, the first time you've ever won the Champions League, you should be getting a fucking statue up in the club, not saying he deserves another crack at it.
Nah. Well, of course he does. He deserves another crack at it. But let's not get it twisted. He don't deserve a 20-year contract, does he?
But would he? I'm playing devil's advocate here. If he was to win this year the Champions League, if he won the Champions League and he won the league, surely then would it be a case of you going, do you know what? I was just wrong about him. Rather than he deserves another crack, would it be, do you know what? Everything I've said, I'll take back. He's the man. He's the manager. He's brilliant. He's world class. Let's crack on.
I'll definitely be open to saying he had a very, very, very successful season. And yeah, that's it. But the thing is, you can't just take away 6 years of like failure. Of course, I'll give him his props and only it'd be buzzing, it'd be unbelievable. But at that time, my opinions now won't be invalidated entirely if he wins something after 6 years.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
I'm talking about now. Like,
I agree with that. But if he does win a Champions League or Premier League, like obviously, you're gonna keep him.
It all depends. Again, I don't know what you take, Darren. We've only done 2 shows together. I suppose I don't know all you take, so I'm going to take you at your word here. I suppose like Potsy's a great example. Who said I think he said, and I might slightly get this wrong. So Potsy, bear with me. I don't think he's ever going to get us over the line. If he does win something, that's something you could admit. I got that wrong because he has got you over the line. I don't think it takes away. You're right. Him winning the league next year doesn't mean you have to apologize for your criticism when Man United knocked you out the FA Cup with 10 men, because that criticism on that day was right. Like I don't think again, some Arsenal fans might expect it. I wouldn't expect Arsenal fans to write written apologies for every bit of criticism that was correct at the time.
Some fans do. They do.
But I would probably expect a bit more than, oh my God, the most historic moment in our club's history. Yeah, he deserves another go next year. Let's see how he gets on.
Yeah, why not? And if you don't do the business the year after that, he can piss off then, can't he? But it is what it is. So what? We just go, he's won the Premier League title. That's it. He can just stay for as long as he wants. Here's an open checkbook.
No.
Write down whatever you want.
That. So
£1 million a week.
So let me ask you this question. I need to know your answer. Done. If he wins the Premier League and Champions League next year, this forthcoming season, and the next year wins nothing, would you sack him?
Absolutely, 100%. He's failed that year. Hello, bye, off you go. Toodaloo. See you later. Get me someone that will win next year. I think that's fair enough. Why do we? If we go back to failing, why do we need to reward one season with constant more failure? I don't get it. He's been here. So I always give a new manager about 2 years.
On that level. So would you have sacked Pep last season if you were at City?
Yeah, I mean, you might have me there. I don't know.
No, I'm not trying to get you. I'm just trying to understand because you might think no, he's won so much.
I mean, yeah,
it's not. It's not. I want to just say, Aaron, it's not about trying to catch you out because this is it, right? Pep's CV is so much thicker and deeper than Arteta's. You might go. It's so what you might say is if Pep did a if Arteta did a three-peat, and then on the fourth year didn't win, he can stay. Like there's a nuanced conversation here. I'm just trying to see where your standards fit compared to say mine and LB's. That's all.
There's a big difference, I think, between failing and not winning anything the 5 years prior and winning 4 Premier Leagues in a row, a treble, Club World Cup, a Champions League. I reckon that's a totally different question. You're talking about someone who constantly fails and trying to get it in with someone who constantly wins. So it's two total different arguments, really. Do you know what I mean? That would get a slightly different opinion because you've got someone there that prolifically wins. You've got someone there that prolifically fails. So, yeah, I would be more inclined to get rid of the failure as opposed to the prolific winner. I felt, I'm going to stick with that. Yeah, I probably would have kept Pep for another year. Yeah, and then after 2 years, if he failed, fair enough. But you've got someone in Pep who's the best in the business. Arteta ain't. He's not.
I've got a better one for you. Would you have kept Klopp as long? I think it was 3 years without winning a trophy, Champions League, then the league, and then a couple of years without winning. Like, would you have given him as long as Pep?
What? Say, maybe I don't know. Maybe sort of not. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. What did he have? I think did he get to a couple of finals in 3 years? Then he won the Champions League.
I think he had something. I might be wrong. I think he had 3 or 4 trophyless seasons, maybe even more than that in total. Maybe even 5 trophyless seasons potentially. But this year says you dismissed the fact he wanted those players. Another manager would not want those exact players. Are you guys intentionally being obtuse?
No, hang on a minute, because we can throw that back at you and saying you're being obtuse because he bought Havertz for 65 million, who's a flop. He bought Vieira for 30-odd million quid, who's a flop. He's bought loads of players that have flopped at the football club. He's bought 7 goalkeepers. So, again, keep it 100. Yeah, don't be saying, are you guys being obtuse? Yeah, because we can throw that back at you and say, well, you're being obtuse, yeah, because you're ignoring this. The fact is, you're trying to gas this manager up who's won nothing in the last 5.5 years. Nothing. And he spent nearly £1 billion. Havertz ain't a flop.
Aaron, would you have sacked Fergie in 1994? Would you have sacked Fergie in 1994?
How is Havertz not a flop, man? Can we just address this?
What?
How is Havertz a flop? You bought him as a midfielder. He's flopped at midfield. So you whacked him as a striker and he's not good enough as a striker. So now you're spending 60 million quid on a new striker, aka flop. He's on 275 grand and he's probably not going to be in the starting 11 next year. He's not how is people telling me Havertz is not a flop? He's wild, bro. It's crazy. It's crazy. Bought him as a midfielder, not good enough in midfield, so put him as a striker, not good enough as a striker. So guess what? Bought a new striker. But I'm being told he's not a flop. All right. Okay. Not a flop. Sound. Can you just confirm that he is a flop, right? I'm not going for the delusional here.
He's a massive flop.
60-odd million quid on 275 grand. He can't play midfield because he's not good enough, and now they replaced him as a striker because he's not good enough.
He's crap. Absolutely crap.
He's a flop as a midfielder. I think he's adjusted well into his position. But I had this debate last season, and I think I said something along the lines of, I think he's done a decent job. And then someone debated me on it, and I yielded because I said, actually, though, he was brought in to do more than a decent job. So you have to always look at what someone... Like, I look at Jack Grealish in the same way. Yes, he was part of trophy-winning teams, but I feel he had very little impact. I feel for the money you paid for him and the impact he was meant to have, I think he did an okay job as a squad player. I don't think he was a brilliant first-team player for the majority of his career. So I'd keep the same energy. So, yeah, I'd put him in that category too. I would. This here says, when Arsenal wins, stay off the wagon, is what Carlton says here. Don't turn up to the parade, Aaron, is what he's saying.
Mate, if we was to win the Champions League, like if we'd have won it last season, mate, don't worry about it. I'd have been in Germany steaming. Hopefully, oh no, do you know what? I won't say that. I'm going to be good. I'll be good. I'll be good. But yeah, I'd have been there. Don't worry about that. I'd have got a ticket. So yeah, cool. We'll win and I'll be there. Don't worry about
that. If INEOS pays compensation for Sancho, is that a red flag in your eyes, Terry? Yes, I've already said that. If so, that's a lot of red flags for a short time they've been here. No. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes. Yes. And I would criticize them. And like I do for every person in the world, I don't know Aaron that well. we met. But you know what? I hate this notion that I think it's a very disgusting way to behave. I'll only give respect once it's been earned. Well, Aaron doesn't know me to earn the respect. So what I do is I give him respect from day one until he loses it from me by doing something nasty. It's a really weird thing to do. So when someone says, I'm taking over your club, this is how we're going to operate, I respect what they've said. I give them time, and my faith can be eroded as opposed to gaining faith. So that's just the way round I do things. The outcome is the same as everybody. Some people give no faith and they've got to earn it. I give faith and you can lose it, but the outcome is very much the same. And in a business sense and football sense, there's no right or wrong way. You can earn the faith, you can lose the faith. It's fine. I think when you treat human beings like that, I think it's disgraceful, because I think you should treat everybody with respect when you first meet them, within reason. There are certain people in the world I've never personally met, but I wouldn't give them a lot of respect. We're not getting into politics on here. Do you know what I'm saying? But overall, no, I don't get your point here, my friend, because this is the thing with you. You called me out for 5-6 weeks, and I bet Tery don't call the INEOS out if they go past these deadlines. All I've done since they've gone past the deadlines is call them out in exactly the same way I would. It's true to my word. So yeah, and if we have a bad summer and we sign no one else and we're awful next season, I won't be turning on Amarin per se. I'll be focusing on INEOS for fucking up 2 summers running. 100, like I blamed them last year for keeping Ten Hag and ruining the season. Did the same thing, then I'll do it again. 2 years running of doing it. I've already stated this publicly, so I don't really get the call out. My faith will be eroded to very, very little indeed. Very, very little faith in them turning it around with 2 terrible years, which will lead to 2 terrible seasons. I'm very, very forthright about that, my friend. But thank you for the weird super chat. LB, you didn't answer the question. The players Arteta wanted would not be here under a different manager. Why is that difficult?
Okay, but again, you're doing the same thing again, bro. I don't know why you keep doing this. You're sending in super chats and that's saying the same thing. I'm not saying he's not signed some good players, bro, but you're just ignoring the point that he signed bad players as well. A lot of bad players. Gabriel Jesus, 50 million quid, no longer needed. Zinchenko, 30 million quid, no longer needed. Fabio Vieira, 30 million quid, no longer needed. Havertz, 67 million quid, no longer needed. Like, I'm accepting. You're the one that's in denial, bro. I accept he signed some good players. For some reason, you're just ignoring the point that he's also wasted a load of money on bad players. Like, you're the one who's not understanding it. I agree with you. He signed some good players. He's got some good players. Well done, Arteta. But he's also signed bad players, which for some reason you're just completely ignoring. I don't understand why you're not accepting that. I accept he signed some good players. I accept that. He signed some good players. Well done. He's also signed a lot of bad players. I don't understand why you're ignoring that. I don't know. Chat saying I'm ignoring the point. What am I ignoring? I've just accepted he signed some good players. I accept that.
The thing is, that there is, I suppose there is a bit of a point being ignored, but I don't really think it's that big an issue.
What am I ignoring?
Different players may have been signed under different managers. The problem is with that. I'm saying I'm on your side here. We don't know who the manager is and who he would have signed. Therefore, it's we can't even do conditional reasoning. So I think, Colton, to answer this question honestly, you have got to present a different manager with different players. So, because otherwise there's nothing for us to compare it to. Saying that different players may have been signed under a different manager is a fair point, but we don't know whether it would have been better or worse without you telling us who the manager is and who the players would have been. Which is why when someone says, this is a shit signing, it's not going to help us go forward. Oh, who are the profiles, who are the players you would like to see? That's not my job. Well, it is if you're complaining, because we're here to have a conversation. And if it's your job to say it's bad, I believe it's also your job to say what would have been good. So you've got to, I'm going to be fair on the other side of the argument. You've got to present the alternatives, because you might say, what if it was Sam Allardyce and we signed Lee Catamol? The boys would say, yeah, it'd probably be worse. You've got to give the boys something to go on. You've got to.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Yeah. Because I didn't say that if you would have had a different manager, you would have had a 100% success rate in the signings. My point is that factually speaking, this manager spent close on £1 billion and hasn't won anything for 6 years. That's a fact. That's factual that you can't disagree with. Now, some of those signings are good signings. Yeah, Saliba, Gabriel. Yes, Gelly obviously not a signing, come from the academy. Mint, Saka, Mint. I really like David Raya. I think he's class. Timber, class. They're on Mint. I accept that. But he's also wasted a lot of money on dead players. And factually speaking, he hasn't won anything, having spent £1 billion. That's all facts. That is all facts. It's like I'm being very balanced here because I'm saying, yeah, he's made some mint signings. I'd love Timber at my club. I think he's class. But the fact is, this guy spent £1 billion, won nothing, mate. So again, we could speak about if you had a different manager, you wouldn't have had Timber, you wouldn't have had him. But you wouldn't have had Havertz, you wouldn't have had Fabio Vieira, and you wouldn't have had Jesus, you wouldn't have had Zinchenko, you wouldn't have Calafiori.
Marino and that. Come on.
You wouldn't have signed Marino. Man. Like, bro, this is the truth. You're not being balanced. I'm being balanced. You're not being balanced. That's the fact. That's the facts.
Gunner Down Under says, would you rather change manager 4 seasons straight and finish out of the top 4, or win 1 or 2 league cups, or keep the same manager working towards consistent world-class squad and finish second 3 years straight?
Well, I mean, you look at the Chelsea model and the Real Madrid model. They sack managers left, right and centre. They don't do too bad, do they? Or the old Chelsea model, maybe under Roman. Like, I don't know why people think that changing manager is the worst thing in the world. Like, or keeping a geezer for 5 years that don't win anything. I'd rather chop and change. Arteta's probably outstayed his welcome for about 2 or 3 years. After he bottled the eight point title, he come out and said, "Oh, I nearly quit," and then signed a new deal. Why would you want to follow that geezer that nearly quit because he bottled the league title? And then we go back in there and he just bottles it again. I'd rather the trophies. Thank you very much. I'm not in it for second. I want trophies. I want trophies. That's what I pay a lot of money for. That's what I give up a lot of my time for, going to watch Arsenal, giving up time for my kids, giving up time with my missus. A lot of financial outlay. I don't do it to finish second and not get knocked out in the 3rd round. I appreciate you're not going to win everything, but come on, man. We've won nothing in 5 years, and we've spent a lot of money to try and do that.
This year from I can't say that name, Mitch. It says, I share Terry's view. It will be either Isak or Ekitike. I believe Liverpool will have an adjustment period. I will be happy with 1 cup next season to start with. 1 cup? Come on, you got to be trying to retain that title, brother. Come on, my friend. Standards. LB, the no context king. He got spent, he says here.
Come on.
Isak Sal could be their Coutinho for the squad building. That's very true. It could happen. Over the length of contracts, Rodrygo will cost £145 million, whilst Madueke will cost £65 million. There is a completely different kind of commitment. But shouldn't you be asked, if you only sign 1 winger, and that's Madueke, shouldn't you be demanding the first one? And that is where I think it's right. If you get Madueke and you get Rodrygo, then suddenly Madueke doesn't become so bad a deal, barring the price. But if your only wide player is him and you don't use Eze out there, or he's not very good at it, that's a mistake. And I think you should at least be open-minded and, sorry to say this, Staffy, objective in your approach that could be true. That Eze might not work as a left winger if that's all you buy is Eze and Madueke. And then you look at it and go, well, if you say you use Eze as a left winger and Noni as the backup, and they don't really work, but you could have put all that money into getting Rodrygo. I think it's important to, you might see it the opposite way, but I think you've got to be objective enough to be open to that being the case, because we don't know what we don't know. And I think it's important to be open-minded. Who's worse at selling, United or Arsenal? Oh, I'd say Arsenal. We have got better fees than them, but we're both terrible. It's a micro penis competition. How the F is Zubimendi a downgrade? That's pure nonsense. One of the most sought after midfielders is just a replacement and a squad filler, is what Wayne says here.
Who was after him? Real Madrid. If they wanted him, they'd have got him. So who was after him?
I think he's a good player. I think he's a really good player, but I don't think he's as good as Partey. Simple as. So now, obviously, you need to get rid of Partey, and Partey's gone, and obviously you'd rather have Zubimendi than Partey. But as a football player, he's not as good a player. But he's still a mid player. I want him at City.
Yeah,
I want him at City in January.
Madueke is Trossard, Rodrygo, or Martinelli starts. Thank you, Colton. Terry, why do you get so angry, Terry, when people say it won't happen? Every comment, including yours, are opinions. This is the difference. People saying that the Isak deal won't happen. They're not giving an opinion. They're stating it as facts, and they're trying to shut down the conversation over the possibility. That is what I'm frustrated with. If they said it could happen, but I don't think it will, or it could happen, they acknowledge that it's a possibility, but say, I don't think it will, that wouldn't frustrate me. It's the idea, this conversation being shut down. One, it annoys me because there's too many credible sources that have said it's open the whole time. And secondly, if we all acted in that way, our podcast would last 4.5 minutes. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy. We've got to be able to have these discussions. Well, the United section was right at the beginning, Josh. You can rewind to it, mate. It didn't last long, just like our summer. Sell us Garnacho for 40 million. If he succeeds, we banter you. If not, we sell to Arsenal. It's easy. That's from a Chelsea fan. Yeah, I doubt we'll get that from right now, but there we go. Boys, look, I love today's show. Great challenge, great opinions. Listen, the crowd, you're always so generous. I thank you all so much for the super chats. Aaron, pleasure working with you again today. LB, pleasure as always. This is going to redirect you to Jamie's channel, the Football Story. So go and support him over there. I think then it's Judge Mo after that. So go and support those channels this evening. We may be back later if there's breaking news. If there's any here we goes, we will see. If not, I'm back tomorrow with Judge Mo and Hussam in the afternoon, plus much more. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again soon. Peace.